Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition to know beyond the shadow of a doubt, no matter what that condition is, we want you to know that you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never alone. And today, our good friend Michal the Baron is back. There she's back. Now she's back. We are going to be having another conversation about being fully healthy, which is awesome. And fully healthy is the way to be. And if you don't feel like you're fully healthy, maybe you should talk to Michal. So I'm gonna put the QR code on right now. I'm not gonna wait around here. Let's just put it right there. And so thank you, Michal, for being here again today. And tell us about you a little bit for those who don't know, and then what are we gonna talk about today?
Thank you. Well, it's always a pleasure, truly. You're a wonderful host, and I love talking about this stuff with you. For those who don't know, I'm Michal Baron, and my background is in functional medicine, nutrition, lots of other holistic modalities. And I found myself after a decade and a half in that realm, managing symptoms, that I was still sick. I still had symptoms. I still had to have a very restricted diet because I had all these food sensitivities and allergies. I had tons of supplements. I'd go to the chiropractor all the time. Like, I was doing so many things to manage my symptoms, and it kind of reached a breaking point with that. And so I logically thought to myself, I don't think what I'm teaching is health, because healthy people don't have to do all the things I'm doing. And healthy people can do a lot of the things I can't do because I pay for it. And so it really led me down this path of, okay, am I actually addressing the root cause, which is exactly what we're going to talk about today. What is a root cause? Or are what we're labeling root causes just more symptoms of a deeper root cause? And so all of that led me to look at and learn about my nervous system in a much different way than I had been taught ever before, because I was already doing things for my nervous system. So I thought I knew all that. Did I know? I did not know. And so what I learned is that when my nervous system is in a constant state of survival, of being in the sympathetic nervous system, the fight, flight, freeze, fawn system, my body is compromised, and my body's ability to heal itself is actually shut down. And that's a real tangible, it's a biochemical state that your body's in. There's actual hormones and proteins and messenger chemicals going in your body if it can heal itself. And so that those processes are actually shut down. And so I knew that stress had a lot to do with illness. In fact, the Center for Disease Control says that 98% of chronic disease is caused by stress. So why isn't 98% of the treatments for stress to address stress? So it's like, then stress is a big buzzword. So anyway, it was just, instead of putting a Band-Aid on my nervous system and just doing breath work and getting massages and doing yoga and all the things, someone once told me, well, I think you have to learn to live there all the time, right? Like, you have to be in the parasympathetic all the time for it to really work, for your body to be fully healthy. And it changed my worldview in that moment. And so within 3 months of focusing on living in the parasympathetic and addressing the real root cause of the dysregulation, my symptoms were gone. My lab tests to this day are normal, show no sign of an autoimmune disease, which is supposed to be permanent. No sign of a genetic disorder, supposed to be permanent, always shown up in all my tests. And my allergies went away, which are supposed to be permanent. And my heavy metals decreased, which are supposed to be permanent. So there's just so many things that I was told would be lifelong, and even in functional medicine, and even by holistic practitioners, that I don't have anymore. I'm not living with that, and I don't have to manage it. And yes, I can eat gluten again. And yes, I can eat sugar if I want. And if I eat a non-organic meal, it's no big deal. My body is working at full capacity, where those things are not an issue. Don't need supplements, don't need meds. So I share my story first because I think it's easier to say, what results do I help people achieve, than like, what do I do? Because it could look a lot of different ways. And a lot of it sounds too good to be true. In fact, if you would have told me this back, then I would have thought you were nuts. In fact, I did. I knew
Yeah.
about this realm of work for years, and I thought I knew better, and I thought it sounded weird. And it wasn't until I was desperate for change that I was really open-minded to look into it for myself. So what we're going to talk about today is what is a real root cause, because we're all, that word, I think that phrase is becoming more popular, right? And I hear a lot, oh yeah, address the root cause. That's why I see functional medicine or integrative medicine or whatever. Well, a lot of what we're told our root causes aren't. They're just more symptoms. And so then we're just playing symptom management in a different way. And that's why most people, went into holistic and alternative, is because they felt conventional was only giving them a Band-Aid approach. So we're also going to talk about what are Band-Aid approaches versus what are true solutions. Yes. And we're also going to talk about what kinds of, whether it's a supplement or a program or a regimen, which ones actually are supporting the body to heal and which ones are just suppressing symptoms. Because if we're just suppressing symptoms, we're actually interrupting the body's healing. And even if we feel better in the short term, it's a vicious cycle we find ourselves in, that the symptoms continue to come back over and over and over. So we're going to talk about how to get out of that cycle.
Yep. And this is on the assumption that you want to be fully healthy. This is not everybody's ready for it all the time, right? Sometimes you have to try all the other stuff and see that it doesn't work before you're like, okay, I'm done, So it's exhausting to go that route, but some people have to go that route. And so if you're ready for it, it's beautiful. So when you're ready, that's what the QR code's for. So that's if you feel like you're ready to learn and dive in, Michal will spend an inordinate amount of time with you figuring it out, especially if you're used to the medical world. It's not a 10-minute meeting. So it's pretty cool, but you got to be ready for it. So, all right. So what are we, we're talking about Band-Aids versus actual solutions. So we're treating not the symptom, we're treating the actual root cause.
Yep. And so maybe let's define that a little bit. In my journey, and becoming a functional medicine, practitioner, doing functional nutrition, all the root causes that we were told about, that we were taught to find, are things like leaky gut. And everyone has that, adrenal fatigue or dysfunction or HPA axis, if that's a different language. Basically, it means, your brain, your pituitary, your hypothalamus, and your adrenal glands all talk to each other. And so most people might have heard about their adrenals. Some of you may not. So those are like the energy bunnies in your body. So they respond to stress. They give you adrenaline, right? Adrenals, adrenaline. They help produce hormones. They help regulate things. And so a lot of us, our adrenals are exhausted, or maybe they're overactive and you can't shut it off. So you're wired, but tired. That's like, your adrenals are exhausted, but they never shut off. So then it's kind of like they're hyperactive. And so the HPA axis is like what drives that process. So, things like, heavy metal toxicity, or, maybe there was chronic infections like bacteria, candida, H. pylori, SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Maybe, people do have parasites and they do parasite cleanses, or they find that they've been exposed to mold and fungus. So they do mold and fungus detoxes. There's a lot of these kinds of things that we would see for everyone, right? Blood sugar imbalances. And so as you begin working with most holistic providers, like a lot of them kind of have a very similar approach in that, well, let's heal your leaky gut and take out foods that you could be having food sensitivities to, which is considered another root cause. So we can find out what foods you're reacting to, and then you can have a restricted diet. Let's give you these supplements for your adrenals for killing, bacteria in your digestive system. Let's give you probiotics and, turmeric or curcumin, resveratrol, omegas, all the things.
Oh, yeah.
Let's give you the cinnamon bark and the whatever for the blood sugar regulation. So anyway,
Yeah.
let's do the detox, right? And then after that, we can reintroduce foods and we can focus on other things, and there's tons of stuff out there. My question for people is like, well, how do you know what to use? We actually had a previous show around being able to test your own nervous system, your own body and your own muscles and your own, different responses to see what is actually good for you. Because just because a professional said it doesn't mean it's going to be good for you.
Right.
And most of the healers themselves are actually, sorry if this pisses you off, but most healers themselves are actually not well themselves. So when I started looking at the fact of, okay, well, wait a second, my functional medicine practitioner flares up all the time, can't eat gluten, takes supplements all day long, is constantly doing NAET, right? Allergy elimination clearing techniques, which I'm trained in as well. It's like, well, they're not healthy either. How do I expect somebody who's not healthy to teach me how to be healthy? They can't do that. They can only teach me as far as they've learned themselves to be. So just throwing that out there too.
Well, but it's true. And like, we're not trying to throw anybody under the bus here, but it's true when you don't know what you don't know. That's the thing. So when people are at a certain level of education and knowledge, then that's a profit model for them. That's their functional medicine practice.
Yep.
Then of course, then they're not going to look at it as, well, I'm still not healthy because I have to take all these supplements and get these treatments and all that stuff, because they probably offer those supplements behind their counter and offer those treatments at their office, and that's part of their livelihood. And so they're not going to say, you don't need all these, you can be fully healthy, because then they would be out of business.
I know.
So,
and I loved, I felt like I found heaven, right? When it was like, oh my gosh, this whole world opened up to me when I started learning about the holistic world, right? And I worked with a chiropractor. He did a hair analysis, found heavy metals, did mineral balancing, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, answers, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
Then I actually was a office manager for him for a while. Like after I was farther along in my wellness journey, I went to work for him. And he said to me, yeah, patient retention is our model. And it was the first time it was starting to dawn on me, like, oh my gosh, like this dread in me of, no, not you too. Like the holistic world was supposed to be better than the other world, world.
That's what I always thought. You had to the holistic world. So my view of it, when I started going to a chiropractor, going to the functional medicine and stuff to figure out some stuff, everything you were talking about was like, well, I'm not going to go to the medical world, because all they want is repeat customers. They just want to put you on a pill and then so you have to keep coming back to them for the refill, and then you're never really healthy. But then you don't really think about it when it's a holistic or a naturopathic kind of approach. But it's just different materials in the capsule. That's all it is, really.
And often they're much more expensive, isn't that?
Because it's not covered by any insurance, and so you're paying out of pocket. And then
and there's 50. Usually, it's 50% profit margins. So
wow,
the time you're spending is usually like 50% more than it's costing the provider. Just letting you know. And
so, they have to stay in business.
Right.
I mean, I get it. It. Yeah.
So, and then the other thing I've heard where it was really starting to dawn on me is, after sharing about this work, and that I am fully healthy and I don't need the supplements, and our clients don't, right? They're healthy. They know how to be healthy, and they don't need all of the ongoing management tools. And this woman said, well, then you'd work me out of a job.
Well,
yeah, I'm like, isn't that the point, is healing people, right? I'm like, so we give generous commissions. If any providers refer to us, we give them money, because we're like, thank you. See, it's a win-win. Now you don't have to say, I don't want to refer this person because I'll lose money. At least we're pacifying that business model by saying, no, you get money. We get to help the client. Client gets to actually become fully healthy and not need the management tools anymore. That's a win for everyone, right? So anyway.
Well, and you know that the majority are not going to go that route, right? Because I mean, it's just a fact. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to, not being doom or gloom or anything, but it's not most people aren't ready for this. You know, a lot of, or I shouldn't say vote most, but a lot of people aren't ready for this type of thing because they've been conditioned by the traditional, you know, model to say, no, you really do need these things.
Yep.
And so, you know, it's still, yes, you're giving commissions when they send them to you, but I'm sure it's not, you know, all day, every day that you're getting referrals from them, because people still believe that they need that, you know.
Totally.
So, which is just a, you don't know what you don't know kind of thing,
Yep.
honestly. So
Absolutely. And I mean, that is true. We see that about 32% of individuals are even ready to explore this conversation. So the majority, right? And we're working with the 8% of the global population that are ready to actually do the work that we teach.
Yeah.
So it certainly is not the majority. Hopefully, the more we educate, the more people live this and get freed from their illnesses and the subscription model that most other healers have. You know, hopefully this will become mainstream knowledge, and our kids will just be taught how to live with these concepts, you know, growing up. That's my ultimate desire for the planet, to be fully healthy. And then I have to find something else to do, like baking, you know, or something else, you know, that's fun. But this is my passion and purpose for now, and I love it every day. So that being said, what is the root cause? It's none of what I've mentioned. Because you could say leaky gut. Well, but why do you have leaky gut? So the question why is the most powerful thing you could be asking your doctors, your specialists, and your holistic providers. Oh, you have leaky gut and heavy metal toxicity. Okay, why? Because
most people don't know the answer to that.
Exactly. And it's like, you know, well, you know, I mean, there's pat answers. Well, the standard American diet, our stress, you know,
environment,
blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, but get this, you know, in 30 days, we replace our entire digestive system with brand new cells. There should be no reason why we all have leaky gut, unless, right, the cells we're producing are not fully functioning because we're in a compromised survival state. That's the only thing that makes sense. But if we are in the parasympathetic, producing healthy, fully functioning cells, stem cells, growth hormone, regenerative hormones, that make every cell fully functioning, and it communicates straight to the DNA of our cell, which is where we're looking at how to build our proteins and make the building blocks in our body. When we're stressed, we actually make deformed proteins or shorter polymers, or, you know, there's like all the things that change. So it's like, okay, so leaky gut cannot be the root cause, because a fully functioning healthy person replaces their gut every 30 days with healthy cells. So there must be something else that's causing the conditions of leaky gut to persist. And the funny thing is, then you heal your gut through these systems. And what we're told, what I taught for many years, so sorry, I didn't know better. But, you know, I'm like, well, you should be doing a leaky gut repair up to 4 times a year, like every quarter. Because you're just going to develop leaky gut. Now I'm like, logically, I'm like, that doesn't actually make sense, though. There's something missing for me to develop leaky gut 4 times a year when I can replace my entire digestive system every 30 days. This is insanity. So I know we have a break to come to, but we're going to continue this conversation where we come back and look at some of the other things that are blamed as being root causes. And hopefully you guys will see those are just more symptoms. There's something much deeper that no one is addressing for you. And that once you address this one piece, every other root cause that's being blamed for your illnesses will resolve themselves.
This is going to be so... Guys, seriously, take notes or something. Please come back for the second segment, because this is going to blow your mind. This might actually piss you off a little, because people are probably thinking, well, this is all I've known for so long, you know, and why didn't somebody else tell me about this? So
yes, but gluten is modified, and we do have pesticides, and
of course we do.
Those are real, and I know I get a lot of that pushback. So we'll talk about that too. I promise.
Yes. Yeah. Hang on to your seats, everybody. This is going to be fun. All right. We will see you in just a minute, Michal. I'm going to, thank you so much. We'll see you in just a minute. All right, everybody. I want to talk to you about something that is, you know, we've got, let's see, there it is. Nope. That one's better. Now you can see it. Okay. Invisible Condition University. I just want to talk to you just for a second about this. We developed this because it's something I wish I had had 10 years ago. Honestly, we I don't know why it didn't dawn on us sooner. I wish it would have been around 10 years ago, because I've had so many surgeries. I've had like half a dozen surgeries, 4 brain surgeries in the last 10 years, 12 years. And that could be rough, by the way. If you've never had that many surgeries in a row, much less brain surgery, it can be a little rough. And not to mention, when you leave the hospital, they forget your name and you have to fend for yourself, really. So that's why my wife, Catherine, and I created ICU. We wanted to create a place for others in that world that would find community, that listens, that cares, that would walk with you through this, and not just drop you like a bad habit. We meet on Zoom twice a month for about an hour. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, depending on who shows up. We don't publish it anywhere. It is a safe place to just come with the patient, bring the caregiver along that you're working with, ask questions, vent frustrations. Maybe we'll find some answers together that you're not getting from your medical provider. If you want to learn more or would like a free month of the membership, it's not expensive anyway, but if you'd like a free month, go to myfreegiftfromjeff.com or scan that QR code right there on the screen, and we will be more than happy to have you. So that being said, we are going to go to a break here, and then Michal and I will be back with a really cool testimonial, and then we'll continue with the story. See you in just a couple minutes.
Hey everybody, Craig Tomanini here, founder and CEO of Ask Craig T, and I wanted to do a quick reminder about our podcast every Friday, 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. You can find us on YouTube and on all of our social media platforms, so be sure you tune in. Don't miss all the valuable information we're going to give you about how to scale your business using technology.
Hi, I'm Sarah Stockham, and I'm host of Simply Sarah. Join me Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific on the Achieve TV network for the best energetic tools to elevate your amazing life right here on E360 TV.
All right, and we're back. Here we are. Okay, so to kick off this this segment here, let's do a testimonial, because we've got a couple here. So let's see. Yeah, let's do this one right here.
Yep, this woman has an extraordinary story, and it was really beautiful to work with her. She's actually in another country, so that's fun. We get to work globally because we work virtually. Mm-hmm. And so she was actually in a mental institution for months. Like it had gotten that bad for her. She had seen, dozens of doctors, was on tons of meds. She actually was going to school to be a nutritionist. It's like she had done holistic stuff too. So really, most of our clients say they've tried everything, but this woman had pretty much tried everything but us. And what's really amazing is, her main challenge was that she had serious insomnia, which affects everything, right? I mean, when you cannot sleep and maybe getting 2 hours of sleep a night for years, who you are changes. You cannot be yourself.
Yeah.
And so she did have a history of trauma. You know, she was in a car accident of which her father passed away in that car accident, you know, as a kid. So then all that, right? Depression, anxiety, was diagnosed with bipolar. And so there's challenges with that as well. And it's amazing because when she learned about the nervous system work, she was just like, this is everything I've been like reaching for, but no one's talking about it. So it was really cool that she jumped all in. And, you know, on average, it's usually 3 to 5 months for people to get well. And so she actually wrote a blog article once for us that bipolar is a choice, which could be very triggering for people to hear.
That's very controversial to say.
And we're not blaming you. It's not your fault. Don't think it's your fault. Don't hear that. But she actually learned so much about herself and knew how to regulate and knew how to address flare-ups if they happened to such a degree that for her, it was like it was a choice. So far from where it started with, I can't function. I've done everything. Nothing works. I mean, she was a victim of the medical system, of, you know, poor treatment, of trying so many things and spending so much money, and then it's still failing her. And then, you know, everyone gets the shoulder shrug after they've spent all the money. Well, we don't know why it didn't work for you. So she said, you know, we were the only ones that did not give up on her. We never gave her the shoulder shrug. We just kept digging deeper until we resolved that. So it was really cool. It saved your marriage. And it's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I love that. And so, okay, wait, nope. There we go. That's the button. That's the button I meant to push. So I'm going to just stay tuned, everybody. I got some cool news about marriage later. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. But yeah, that is so cool. I'm not surprised it saved her marriage, because bipolar is a serious thing.
Oh yeah.
That's a big deal. So I love that. All right. Well, so what are we talking about next?
So let's kind of finish up this. What is a root cause versus what is a symptom? And just reminding you guys, keep asking why. If the answers are vague, they don't have the answers to help you get fully healthy. You know, if it's chalked up to genetics, which has been disproven, by the way, in studies. I don't know if I need to go on. Do I need to go on a rabbit trail about that?
I mean, it's people talk about, you know, oh, it's hereditary. My mom had it and her mom had it and her mom had it. And I'm going to have it and my daughter will have it. And right.
Okay. So let's talk about that.
Well, let's do a short rabbit trail.
Okay. Short rabbit trail about that. Maybe we'll do a whole segment on that.
Yeah. Let's do it. We can do a whole show on that if we want. Yeah.
Actually, in medical research, they have disproved the theory of that genes create the illnesses or are correlated. So they pulled all these people and they found that whether they were genetically predisposed to something didn't have a correlation to whether they would get the actual illness or not. Like the numbers did not match. It should have been what they expected was, if you're genetically predisposed, right, you're likely to get the illness. And so people that have the genetic markers for diabetes or cancer or whatever, you know, those are the ones that develop it, and the ones that don't have the genes for it likely do not develop it. That wasn't true. So they were like, oh, well, what's the new theory then, right? So then, and this next one is what most of us are still taught today, because it really does take 20 to 30 years for the up-to-date research to get out into the general public, sometimes longer. Because who we're going to for our wellness, like the doctors and, you know, commercials on TV and all of this stuff, they're not even up to date. They're going based on 50-year-old research usually. Most medical doctors, like functional medicine, usually tries to be within 10 years of the current scientific literature. And most MDs have to choose to do that, like above and beyond what they are told to do, what they're supposed to do for their job, because they want to. So most of them don't have time or interest or even know to be in the right seminars to learn that research. So anyway, the next theory was that it's our environment that controls genetic expression and rewrites genes and can predict what illnesses we develop and what health issues we struggle with. And then that was disproved. because you take like, well, I've been a smoker since I was 8 years old, right? My grandpa, and he didn't develop the issues that the others did that had never smoked a day in their life or been really exposed to any harsh chemicals associated with that type of lung cancer. So they were just seeing that these things aren't making sense. Like these theories that we have about, oh, it's genetic. No, that's actually been disproven in the literature now. It's like, I don't know if this is totally new to you people, but like, for this,
Probably.
I learned this like 20 years ago. So maybe less, maybe 14, 15 years ago. So it's like, yeah, no, this is not new. It might be new to you, but we are not taught this stuff. That's why I'm so passionate about just sharing as much as I can. So anyway, that's been disproven. So if there's like, oh, it's genetic, or oh, it's environmental, or oh, blah, blah, blah. No, that's a pat answer. So even in my own journey, right, I had a genetic condition. I even had one that is actually a genetic condition. Like that is what it is.
Yeah.
And now it's not showing up. So even if it is genetic, literally, like I have the gene MTHFR gene, I have, whatever, I have EDS, or I have, these things that are actually genetic conditions, doesn't matter. That's what we've seen.
Just to throw that out there, EDS is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, right?
Thank you. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to just throw that out there.
You did your homework since last time.
Just saying. No, we've actually had a couple people on with we've had a guest that is currently still in that struggle. So yes, there is. So when you said EDS, I knew what that was, and I just wanted to make sure that they knew what that was. So
yes, yep.
Anyway, so okay, go ahead. Even actual genetic disorders like the ones I have been resolved. Also, one of our practitioners is an identical twin. So let's talk about genetics, shall we? Right? They developed entirely different health challenges. Yeah.
And a lot of it, well, all of it can be pointed to nervous system dysregulation. Wow. In affecting genetic expression. So no, it's not genetic and it's not this or that. And just because you have the genes for cancer doesn't mean you're going to get it. And there's a lot that we can do. And allowing your body to be in a fully functioning state is really like the one root cause solution thing that you could do to ensure that you don't develop the things you are predisposed to. So I just had to, I know it was a rabbit trail, but I think
it's good. Yep.
Okay, so leaky gut, adrenal fatigue, food allergies, heavy metal toxicity, like sluggish liver stuff, These are not root causes. These are symptoms. So it's like, but what's causing the liver to not function the way that it should?
Yeah.
What's causing the adrenals to not repair or to be fatigued? What's causing hormonal imbalance? So then people are going to just take hormones to balance. I'm like, well, time out, but why are your hormones imbalanced though? Like, but why? Because you want to fix the why. If we fix the why, you won't have to force your hormones to be where they should be. Your body will naturally make them be where they should be. Plus, if I'm forcing my body with supplements, programs, diet, whatever we're forcing the body to do, chiropractic adjustments. Sorry if I make you mad. I'm so sorry if I make you mad. I don't mean it in any ill-intentioned way. But if we're forcing the body to correct, but not addressing the why, the body's just going to go out of alignment again. Like, duh, right? It's just logical thinking. So once you address the true reason why, that's the only way to ensure that those symptoms are not going to keep popping up. So first of all, what is a root cause? I really encourage you guys to think, is what I've been told a root cause, or is it just a symptom? Or sometimes it's not even that. It's like a label. Oh, you have MS. Great. But why? What is MS, right? An autoimmune thing. Well, why is it Th1 dominant autoimmune condition or Th2 dominant autoimmune condition? If you don't know what I'm even meaning, that's step one, is finding out which side of your immune system's overactive or underactive. We did a segment on that at some point. But you see, there's so much to it. So first of all, don't just take the label. Don't just take the diagnosis. Don't just take the, oh, it's food allergies. You can never eat that again. Start asking why. There's a whole deeper level here.
See, and I feel like we've gotten to the point in medical, patient medical world, whatever, that people are actually relieved when they get that label, because it's like, oh, thank God, now I know what's going on. Now I can explain it. But it's really just explaining the symptoms.
Right.
Is all it's explaining, is what we're saying, right? It's not explaining the root cause. It's just explaining what you're experiencing in your symptoms,
right?
And kind of ignoring the root cause.
Yes.
And
some of the labels that we receive, I'm not saying go against your doctor's diagnosis. I'm saying labels, right? Some of the labels we receive do explain what's going on.
Sometimes.
Like MS is a good example. The immune system is attacking these things in the body, right? Some labels that we receive are only a label to a set of symptoms with no tests or other things done to show why, like depression, when the scientific literature actually shows, right, like inflammation markers are usually elevated with people who are experiencing symptoms of depression. So it's like, well, is it depression or inflammation? I mean, same with bipolar. Like a lot of people that have been diagnosed with bipolar are then tested to see if they react to gluten. And it was like in the 90%. I'd have to look it up, but it was a huge percent of them were actually reactive to gluten. And the way that they react to gluten affects their brain. So gluten, if you're gluten sensitive, it can affect, most of us think just the digestive tract, but that's actually not true. Digestive tract, skin, and brain. And so do they have bipolar or do they have undiagnosed gluten sensitivity, right? So it's really interesting. It's like bipolar is another one. I mean, they can put the label to the set of symptoms, but can you explain why that's happening? That's the level you got to work at. So these are, just remember that even if you have a label, I might even question the label, because is the label actually giving you new information about the mechanism of what's happening in your body, or is it just describing symptoms? If it's just describing symptoms, then you're even that much more farther away from addressing the heart of what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. I feel like I take a few deep breaths.
Okay. Yeah. That right there that's enough to set just about anybody off that's had a lot. I mean, and we're not trying to, like, seriously, anybody with, because we've had so many people on the show with so many of these symptoms and so many of these conditions that, we're not saying that you're not feeling what you're feeling, and we're not trying to throw anybody under the bus here, but what we're saying is it may be more simple than you think, to, not easy necessarily, I'm not saying, but more simple than your doctors are telling you, and that the medical community is allowing you to know. So, and maybe it's just because they just don't know.
That's true.
Part of it.
I actually have MD friends, and they had to go get additional training in functional medicine, like in what I'm trained in, to even learn about any of these things. And I did a podcast with an MD a while ago, and I was like, can you just tell people so they hear it from you? Like, did you ever learn this in medical school? She's like, oh no, never. Absolutely not. She's like, she actually works in a hospital, and she was saying, like, her peers, her colleagues, the other MDs in the hospital she works in, they don't know this stuff either. So it's really not taught in medical school. It's just a paradigm. So it's nothing personal. It's just the principle. And for me in my life, I wanted to seek and seek and seek. I wasn't satisfied with, this is my life forever. And so if there was anything out there that could help me, I was determined to find it. So when we come back from break, we'll talk about what kinds of things support the body and what it's trying to do to heal, and what things that we think or are told are a good idea are actually sabotaging the body from healing and interrupting that process.
Exactly. Love it. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait for you guys to learn this, because this is blowing my mind. And I've heard some of this, and it's still blowing my mind. So I'm sure everybody is, pick your jaw up off the floor, everybody, when we get done. All right. Thank you, Michal. We'll see you in just a couple minutes. Oh, man. Okay. So here is what I would like to talk to you about one more thing, and then we'll go to a quick break. Okay. I cannot, first of all, I just have to say, I cannot say enough good about Dunamis marriages. So I have a question. Is your marriage struggling? Or do you feel disconnected from your spouse? Or is your marriage doing pretty well and you want to know how to bring it from pretty well to thriving? Okay, all of those apply. At Dunamis Marriages, they believe that God designed marriages to be lifelong, heart-connected journeys. My wife and I are grateful clients of Dr. Pauline Dillard at Dunamis Marriages, and we saw her in 2008. So I'm speaking from experience here. And they are here to help you get there to that lifelong, heart-connected marriage. Located in Colorado Springs, Colorado, they can work with you remotely. It's pretty awesome. Their faith-based marriage intensives have an 83% success rate. I'm going to say that again, 83% success rate. Most marriage counseling has about a 10% or less. 83%. Guiding couples through deep emotional healing and lasting transformation. Led by Dr. Pauline, who brings a 42-year track record of marital wisdom to the table. These marriage intensives are different. Typical marriage counseling is more of a once a week for an hour that can last, type of model. It can last for years. This intensive model that Dr. Pauline uses brings couples together for 2 or 3 hours per session for 5 or 6 sessions. And by that time, you are equipped with the tools and the biblical truth and the psychological principles to restore communication, trust, and intimacy. At Dunamis Marriages, they don't just treat symptoms. They equip you with the tools to build a thriving, Christ-centered marriage. So if you are ready to break free from being frustrated and rekindle your relationship God's way, act now. Do it today. Go to DunamisMarriages.com today and take the first step toward a stronger, most fulfilling marriage. Scan the QR code, and I can't wait to hear. I would love to hear from people that have done this and that have had results, because I can tell you we have. So, all right. I will see you on the other side of the break. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jake, co-founder and CEO of One Hope. My friends and I started this company in 2007 out of the back of this truck on a mission to enrich people's lives through wine. Today, we've grown into a state-of-the-art Napa Valley winery that proudly houses a portfolio of award-winning wines which have touched lives through over 40,000 nonprofits at home and around the globe. And it's happening every day. Being rooted in local communities and contributing to initiatives that uplift neighborhoods, celebrate cultures, and promote community. It's what got us here. You see, through every bottle sold, your purchase can make a direct impact on the causes you care about. One Hope's cause of choice has given back over $10 million and counting.
Eva Black Occurrence here, and I am the host of One Punch Superstars, where we meet real people who chose to fight for their hopes and their dreams and become the champions of their destiny. You can find us on Achieve TV every Tuesday and Wednesday at noon Mountain Standard Time, right here on E360 TV.
Oh, man. Okay.
Here we go.
Oh, welcome to live TV, everybody. I think somebody hit the wrong button there. It was the commercial was going, and then all of a sudden, intro forever. So, yeah, well, hey, every show's a little different, right? So, okay,
Go with it.
here we go. Yeah, right. So, all right, I am going to put another testimonial on the screen because let's see, I think this one. We didn't talk about.
Well, yes. Lindsay.
Lindsay. We didn't talk about Lindsay yet. Okay.
Yep. And it was cool. Like, because her name's not right. Their names aren't up here. So Jeff asked me before we got on, are you going to know who these people
Please
are?
tell me you know who these are.
And what's so cool is, yes, like that's how invested we are. Like I remember every person, you know? So just from the list, I know who this is. So anyway, I think Lindsay's very inspiring. She's one of our youngest clients. We usually work with older, usually women. I mean, we work with kids and men and all that. But usually we're working with women like in between, you know, in their late 30s or 40s to 60s kind of, you know, those are the ones that are like, all right, something's going on. I've got to take action. But we've got some younger girls now. And you know, as you could see from the list, there was a lot there.
Yeah.
Very personal with addictions and eating disorders and stuff around that to, you know, physical challenges, the hormone issues, pain, and lots of other stuff, digestive disorders. And so what's so neat is, you know, she did start with functional medicine. She's one that knew me a long time. And that did manage things pretty well. But it's those hidden, sneaky things that we don't think are illnesses, like, you know, the Coke addiction or the, you know, like all of that we can hide pretty well. And so when
you're talking Coca-Cola, right?
No, unfortunately, not
cocaine. Okay.
Yes, cocaine.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify. You know, you never know.
Probably that too. You know, sugar, whatever your thing is, it's no different.
Just
If an addiction, it's an addiction.
Just throwing it out there. Yeah.
When she was ready to heal, it all came out.
Oh,
and she had to face it all. And the neat thing is, people heal to such a level when they're regulated that they don't even want those things. There's not that pull, there's not that drive. They're not constantly fighting themselves to be sober. And so I've watched her through the years, you know, be triggered or go through a challenging life event. And, you know, in the beginning, it was maybe, oh, let's go back into some of my old patterns. Nope, can't do it. It's so horrible. I'm back on the wagon. And now I've seen her, I've known her for years and years. It's just so beautiful because that's not even even when she's challenged, even when there's hard things going on in life, she's, how can I handle this in a healthy, regulated way? So it's just really amazing. Like,
awesome.
You know, people are like, oh, I'm an addict forever. Right. And it's just like, no, yes, you do need to be responsible for that. But when you have the root cause solved, even things like addictive behaviors or eating disorders, right, which is a perception disorder, even that can come back to a normal, healthy place. And you can really be restored. And now she's writing a book about her life and healing journey to inspire others. So it's just so cool.
Awesome. That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, so so we're back. And I'm so glad that we got her testimony because that is so powerful. We have about 5 minutes left. So, what do we want to cover in that?
A few last things. One is, okay, what is a Band-Aid versus a real solution? This is a very simple answer. So I'll start here.
Yeah.
If you require that thing ongoingly to manage a symptom, it's a Band-Aid. So solutions don't work that way. Solutions get to the root, and then you don't need ongoing supplements or ongoing whatever back to the chiropractor to address whatever that is. So that's, I think, a key is does it give me fundamentally what I need to be well, that I don't need anything outside of me anymore because I'm well? That's what a true solution is. So measure what you're doing against that standard. The last thing is, are we actually supporting the body in what it's trying to do, or are we actually suppressing it and inhibiting the body from what it's trying to do? So a good example of this, I know we've used it before, is like fevers, right? So everyone, kind of the old way of looking at fevers was, oh, take a fever reducer, right? Get rid of the fever. And now a lot of people in the holistic field know better than that. Conventional, right? No, the fever's good. You want to allow the fever to do its thing. And that's the fastest way. You'll actually get better faster if you allow the fever to be there. Obviously not in any life-threatening levels, right? But allow the fever. The fever's not a bad thing. The fever's a good thing. The fever's what the body's using to heal.
Yes.
Well, in a similar way, we look at that with inflammation, right? We say, let's get rid of the inflammation with an anti-inflammatory, whether it's a medical anti-inflammatory or whether it's a supplemental anti-inflammatory, like curcumin, right? Turmeric, resveratrol, all of those things. Now, omegas and probiotics, I'm very do those. those
are great.
Do not ever interrupt the body's healing. I can't say never for probiotics, but I would say in general, always good. They do not disrupt the body, but we're talking anti-inflammatories or high cholesterol. Let's just get rid of the cholesterol. Now, why is the cholesterol high? Cholesterol is actually a Band-Aid for your blood vessels. So now we're getting rid of the Band-Aid to the blood vessels, but we're not getting rid of the things that's damaging the blood vessels. That's a problem. We look at this with blood sugar, right? Well, let's just lower our blood sugar. No, why is the blood sugar high? It's doing that for a biological reason and purpose. That's what we want to do. So if you're taking anything just to change a level, usually you're interrupting the body. So with an infection, for example, I might give someone extra bacteria, probiotics, instead of an antibacterial herb like oregano. So just want to look at that. Is this supporting my body to do its thing? Or is it interrupting what I think is the problem, which is just a symptom? That's another measure that you're not actually getting anywhere.
Nice.
So thank you.
Very cool. Yeah. And I'm telling you, man, this is mind-blowing stuff. People are probably turning over, like falling out of their chairs hearing some of this because it's so different and it's so controversial depending on who you're telling about this. So I know I've got a lot of friends in that world, and they're proud if they hear this, they're going to go, wait a second. That's my livelihood, man. So, but it's true. It's true. Yeah. Work your way out of a client every time. That's the way to do it. So.
Yes, that's what we do. Cause I figure, well, gosh, the whole world needs this. There's not a shortage of people with illnesses. I am not worried about my job retention or whatever you say, right? Like a job security. There you go.
Nope.
My job is secure. And when it's not, we will celebrate that the planet is healthy.
That's right.
And then we will go do other fun things.
Exactly. I love it. That's awesome. That's perfect. Yeah. And so, by the way, everybody, so we are just about out of time, but I wanted to let you guys know, and I don't know why I haven't been doing this more, but I wanted to let you know that if you are enjoying what Michal is saying, or at least it's eye-opening, you're not enjoying it yet because it's like blowing your mind. But if this is valuable, I want you to know that she's actually, the next show that Michal and I will do together will be on April 1st, which is actually the first show of season 5. We've been on the air 4 seasons already. Season 5 season opener will be Michal on April 1st. And I know April 1st in some worlds is April Fools. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. April 1st, Michal will be back to give us some more amazing information. So thank you, Michal. Thank you so much. And we'll see you on April 1st. All right. So our next show is not April 1st. Our next show is going to be, what is it? March 21st is going to be our next show. So this one, yeah. So, but it's, our next show in general is March 21st with our next guest. And so please join us. If you are watching, wherever you're watching, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, straight up on E360 TV, on your TV in your living room, we love all of you. Thank you so much for being here. if you're on Facebook and YouTube, you probably know you can comment. So we love to hear from you. And until next time, have an amazing day. And, we'll see you on the next show. Thank you.